Welcome back to Think and Speak podcast. Today's episode is not just about English. It's about how you think while learning English. Daniel, let me ask you something. Why do so many learners study grammar for years, memorize thousands of words, and still feel stuck when they try to speak?
That's a powerful question, Emma, and it leads us straight to today's topic: why your mindset controls your English success. Many learners believe English is about intelligence or talent, but the real driver is how you approach mistakes, progress, and confidence.
Exactly. If you've ever said, "My English is bad," or "I'm afraid of speaking," this episode is for you. We're going to break old habits and replace them with modern, practical thinking.
And here's a challenge for our listeners. If you want to improve your English faster, pause for 1 second, like this video, and leave a comment telling us what mentally blocks your English right now.
Your comment might help someone else too. Let's turn this into a conversation, not a lecture. Ready?
Let's begin.
Daniel, many English learners believe their problem is grammar or vocabulary, but you often say the real issue is mindset. Can you explain what mindset means in language learning and why it is more powerful than memorizing rules?
That's a crucial starting point, Emma. In language learning, mindset refers to the beliefs and attitudes a learner has about their ability to improve. Psychologically, we often talk about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. A fixed mindset sounds like this: I'm bad at English, I will never sound natural, I make too many mistakes. A growth mindset, on the other hand, says, I'm improving, mistakes are feedback, fluency is a process. From a linguistic perspective, grammar and vocabulary are tools, but mindset controls how often and how effectively you use those tools. For example, a learner may know the present perfect tense, but if they are afraid of making errors, they avoid speaking. As a result, their communicative competence, the ability to use language in real situations, never develops. Let's look at a simple example. Two students learn the phrase, I've been working on my English. Student A thinks, what if I use the tense incorrectly? Student B thinks, let me try it and adjust if needed. Student B speaks more, receives more input, and improves faster. This is called output-driven learning. Mindset also affects error tolerance. Modern language teaching emphasizes that errors are part of interlanguage development, the natural system learners build between their native language and English. If learners emotionally reject mistakes, they block this process. Phrases like, good enough for now, let me rephrase that, and what I mean is, empower learners to keep speaking even when grammar isn't perfect. These are repair strategies, and confident speakers use them constantly. So yes, grammar matters. Vocabulary matters. But mindset decides whether knowledge turns into real communication. Without the right mindset, English stays in a notebook. With it, English becomes a living skill.
Many learners are terrified of making mistakes when they speak English. Why does fear play such a big role, and how can changing mindset reduce speaking anxiety?
Fear is one of the biggest invisible barriers in language learning, Emma. Linguistically, fear increases what we call the affective filter, a concept from second language acquisition theory. When the affective filter is high due to anxiety, embarrassment, or perfectionism, language input does not fully reach the learner's brain. Most learners fear judgment. They think mistakes equal failure. But in real communication, mistakes are normal. Native speakers say things like, what was I saying? Or, that didn't come out right. These are disfluencies, not failures. Mindset reframes mistakes as data, not damage. For example, confusing he and she, or misusing prepositions like in, on, and at does not stop communication. The key is intelligibility, not perfection. Let's take a grammar example. A learner says, yesterday I go to work late. Grammatically incorrect, yes, but communicatively successful. The listener understands. With a growth mindset, the learner later adjusts to, yesterday I went to work late. That correction sticks because it comes after use. Practical phrases help reduce anxiety. Let me think for a second. I'm not sure how to say this, but can I say it another way? These phrases buy time and maintain flow. They are part of spoken discourse competence. Modern English learning values confidence over correctness in early stages. When learners accept that fluency comes before accuracy, fear decreases. Over time, accuracy improves naturally through repetition and feedback. Changing mindset means replacing "I must be perfect" with "I must be understood." Once that shift happens, anxiety loses its power.
Some learners study for years, but feel they never progress. How does mindset influence consistency and long-term improvement?
Consistency is where mindset shows its true power. Learners with a weak mindset rely on motivation, which is emotional and unstable. Learners with a strong mindset rely on systems and habits. From a learning theory perspective, language acquisition depends on spaced repetition and meaningful exposure. A learner who believes progress is slow and invisible may quit too early. A learner who understands that improvement is incremental keeps going. For example, learning phrasal verbs like give up, run into, or figure out takes time. You don't master them in 1 week. A healthy mindset accepts partial knowledge. I recognize this phrase, even if I don't use it perfectly yet. Consistency also improves automaticity, the ability to produce language without conscious grammar thinking. This is why frequent short practice beats rare intense study. Useful mindset phrases include progress, not perfection. I'm building fluency brick by brick. Every conversation counts. Learners who succeed view English as a lifestyle skill, not an exam subject. They listen, speak, read, and think in English regularly. Mindset turns effort into identity. I am an English user, not I am an English student. That identity shift changes everything.
How does mindset affect pronunciation and accent, which many learners worry about deeply?
Accent anxiety is one of the most misunderstood issues in English learning. Many learners believe they must sound like native speakers, which creates unnecessary pressure. From a phonological standpoint, pronunciation clarity matters more than accent. The goal is intelligible pronunciation, not accent elimination. Stress, rhythm, and sentence intonation matter more than individual sounds. A negative mindset says, "My accent is bad." A productive mindset says, "My accent shows my language journey." In fact, accents are normal in global English communication. Take word stress as an example: record, noun, versus record, verb. Learners improve this through exposure, not fear. When mindset allows experimentation, pronunciation improves faster. Helpful phrases include, "Could you repeat that? Did I pronounce that clearly?" These invite feedback instead of avoidance. Confidence improves pronunciation because relaxed speakers control airflow, rhythm, and pacing better. Tension makes pronunciation worse. Mindset reminds learners, clarity first, confidence second, accent last.
What role does self-talk play in English learning mindset?
Self-talk is the internal dialogue that shapes learning behavior. Linguistically, it affects output frequency, how often learners speak. Negative self-talk includes, "I sound stupid," "My grammar is terrible." Positive self-talk reframes effort, "I'm practicing, this is how I improve." Replacing judgment with observation is key. Instead of "I failed," say, "I hesitated because I lacked vocabulary." That's actionable. Grammar improves when learners notice patterns, not when they punish themselves. Healthy self-talk accelerates learning because it encourages risk-taking, which is essential for fluency.
How can learners build a strong mindset daily?
Daily mindset building comes from intentional habits. Short exposure, reflection, and speaking practice matter. Learners should celebrate small wins, understanding a podcast sentence, using a new phrase, correcting an error. Language learning is cumulative. Mindset keeps learners patient.
If you could give one mindset rule for English success, what would it be?
My rule is simple. Use English before you feel ready. Readiness comes from use, not preparation. Fluency is built through action, feedback, and persistence. Mindset turns effort into progress. English rewards those who speak first and polish later.